Peace. Welcome to Spearz and Micz Hip Hop Podcast, where we talk about hip hop culture, the streets, and also drop some knowledge. I'm one of the hosts, Zulu King L1, and we got our beloved brother Shaka Zulu Watt in the
Peace.
building with us.
Peace.
Word, man. For those, the viewers, the listeners, if y'all wondering, normally we record every week. Last week we didn't do an episode because we was at an event for our brother Just P. A dope event too at that, you know what I'm saying? Me, Watt, Just P, our brother Zulu King Biggs, brother Nicky Sins, couple Zulus pulled up. We was kicking it with the Low Lives, you know what I mean? Shout out to the Low Lives.
Shout out to the low
Peace,
lives.
peace to Rag Low. Um, peace to
G.
everybody that was Craig G.
Percy P.
Peace, Percy P.
You.
FU,
Mer.
you know what I'm saying? A lot
Chico
of dope
son.
acts were
Mer.
a lot of dope acts was on up there. Low Lives was in the building, full force. Few Zulus in the building, you know what I mean? Definitely looking forward to building a unity through hip hop with them brothers, man. And
Mer.
it's like, yo, it's two legendary movements in hip hop. So it makes
You know
sense.
what's crazy about that? I saw a picture of that night and
Hmm.
Lord Sear was there. And I didn't
Right.
even know. I didn't
Yeah, well
even
they said he was there. He was spinning, I think, at one point, if I'm not
okay, probably
mistaken.
before we
Yeah,
a
I
little
think I think I
after.
think right before you got in there, I think he was spinning. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
okay.
Or
Yeah, because I saw a pic of him, but he was upstairs though. He wasn't down where we were
oh,
at. Like the pic I
oh,
saw
okay.
of him, he was upstairs. And I was like, oh wow,
Okay,
Lord
yeah.
Sear was there. Maybe I might have walked past him on the way in
Yeah.
when he
Now I
was
believe
done
I
with his
saw him.
set.
I believe I saw him. So I think he
Okay.
was on the
Well,
side that we was
shout out
on.
to Lord Sear.
Yeah, definitely. Funny brother too. Super
Word, word,
entertaining.
word, mad funny.
Very,
Mad
yo, when I used to listen
hilarious.
to him on Shade 45, that brother used to have me in tears, man.
Yeah, nah.
Dude is
Word,
a true entertainer and a dope ZJ.
word.
Um, Indeed. But the event, man, it was dope, man. And I remember me and you just being there, like we was kind of in awe, like how Percy P be dropping it, man. The brother's
Yeah, yeah. Nah,
so
he's one of my
skilled,
favorites, man.
and so legendary, man, and so criminally underrated. You know what I'm saying? Like I think the
Yeah,
real hip hop heads give him his just due, but like in general, I think that people are sleeping on him and don't have him. Like, maybe it's, the discography, the catalog could be something maybe that's holding him back. But like bars, that man
yeah.
is, he's a menace.
He
He's
stepped
a
on the scene
menace.
in '89, and to
Right.
still have, like to
That
still have
command,
that, yeah,
that
still have
command
that,
and
like,
that,
yo,
yeah,
I told you, after that night, the next day, I listened to Perseverance because I hadn't heard it in a while anyway. But seeing him and not even knowing he was gonna be there because he wasn't even slated to be there, let alone perform. And when he told
uh,
me, when I like shook his hand and I was like, yo, you a legend. And I really appreciate you, you know what I'm saying? Like you one of them ones. And he was like, yo, I appreciate it. Very humble. And then he was like, yo, I'm about to go on stage right now. And I'm like, word.
word,
I'm like, make sure I get
word,
my phone out. You know what I'm
word.
saying? And he performed one of my favorite joints, Raw Heat, the Mad Lib
Mm-hmm.
version featuring
Right.
Quasimodo. Excuse me. And I knew that joint word for word. I'm in there reciting it with him as he's
Word.
going off, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, he definitely is underrated and he needs to get more of his props, man. Shout out to Percy
Certainly.
P, Patterson Projects in the Bronx, and shout out to the BX.
Word,
You know what
man.
I'm saying?
Definitely. What else?
I think all
The
the performances were dope.
yeah,
Not to cut you
yeah.
off, all the
No, yeah, yeah.
performances was dope.
All of them
Those two brothers, I
from
think they were
Philly.
called, yeah, Omorta, Low or whatever their names were.
Hmm.
They were dope. Um, just the whole low life. aesthetic in itself, man, is like really, really remarkable.
Yeah,
Um, to see everybody. And I saw somebody that's from my neighborhood that I didn't even know was a low life, let alone a MC. My man Chico's son. Shout out to him. And he went on
yeah.
stage and ripped
And
it
he
down.
and he was dropping it. He
Yeah,
was
he
dropping it.
really he really ripped it down, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just to see all of them like um dipped in polo, different styles
Mm-hmm.
of polo, whether it be the polo bear, whether it be like those brothers from Philly had the Stadium 92 ski
Mm-hmm.
joint on, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
no, it was
saying?
wild flavors,
Brothers having,
wild
yeah,
flavors.
like Rack Low came in with the windbreaker joint,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Brothers rocking polo bear sweaters, dudes with polo kicks on, like
Right.
everything low,
Yeah,
big pony. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? All of
yeah,
that, all
yeah,
different types of Ralph in there, yo.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yo, it's their whole movement is very remarkable. Like if no one's
It's legendary. It's
yeah,
legendary.
if no one knows anything about the low lives, I suggest like you go on YouTube and you could like Google low life documentary and
Yeah. There's a few of them.
yeah, they can explain it better, but from my understanding, they were
Two different
two
crews.
different crews from Brooklyn,
Ralphie's Kids and
Ralphie's
Polo
Kids
USA, I
and
think,
Polo
right?
USA. Yeah, they were like basically boosting Ralph Lauren
Mm-hmm.
in the stores, preferably Albee Square Mall and
And Macy's in
and
34th, I
Macy's,
think.
yeah, Macy's 34th Street, Manhattan, and they was going like taking racks of clothes
Racks.
and like styling them and giving back to the community, also like selling it
Yeah,
back to the
selling it for the
community
low.
as a for the
Selling
low,
it for the
right?
low.
Selling it for
Right.
the low so people could get fresh and not for nothing. They made polo popular.
Yeah,
They really made
100%.
polo popular, and the craziest thing about it, one of the founders, Thurston Howell, after years, I believe Ralph Lauren gave him a job or
Yeah.
some type of like
Yeah, he's definitely
position
he's
within the
gotten
company.
recognition,
Right,
and
right.
yeah, I think he has some type of position as well.
After
And I
stealing the
and,
clothes, like,
and I've seen him in an official Ralph Lauren documentary too.
right, right,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like, so it's remarkable. It's incredible. Peace to Vic Low, aka Thurston Howell,
Word
and Rag Low,
and
both
right, yeah.
co-founders. There's the Brownsville side, and then there's also the Crown Heights side. And like me personally, I got a tremendous amount of respect for all the New York original movements. Like I have this deep rooted connection and respect, even though I'm not a part of these groups, but like to me, it's just New York history. It's a
Hmm.
part of, it's in alignment with what we are to a degree,
Right.
because like in New York, we got, of course, the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths,
Hmm.
we got the Universal Zulu Nation. We have the Low Lives. We got the Decepticons.
Black
We got
Spades.
Black Spades. We got Lost Boy Family.
Hmm.
Um, you know, um, and what else? There was one other one that but those movements are just so large and so New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there was never a need for anybody to expand the street movements outside of that. We had it good right there. It could have just
Right,
stayed within these organizations, but that's no knock or disrespect to anybody. But let New York be New York. Um,
right.
and yeah, man, I thought it was a dope event, man, and I look forward to supporting our brother Just P as he continues to throw more events. We'll definitely keep y'all updated with those if y'all want to pop out and support the brother. Supporting him is supporting us. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I'm very proud of you, P. Even though he's not here today, the brother's a little under the weather, man. That's a brother that just he stays sharp with Zulu. He stays sharp with the low lives. He stays sharp in hip hop culture, dropping music. Like
Hmm.
every season, he got a new album out at minimum. You know what I'm saying? The brother really got his foot on the gas, man. And I want to give P his flowers, man, because he came home from prison and he could have sat on his hands. and been stagnant, but the brother got a job immediately, elevated himself, you know what I'm saying, doing positive community work, getting paid, working with youth, doing prison reform, you know what I'm saying, and then maintaining all of that with still being a Zulu king, like leading the way within the Zulu Union, striving, building, you know what I'm saying, then dealing with the low lives and all the events that they got going on. Brother got his hands full, you know what I mean, and he's doing an excellent job. And I just want to give the brother the recognition and love for all he does for the Zulus, for the Spearz and Micz podcast, you know what I mean? And just hip hop culture in general, man. We love you, P, for real. Go check
More,
out that new album too, Fire. Shout out
more,
to G Clef also, the mad composer. Definitely
more,
some tough beats on there. Great work, for real.
more. That Professor X and Logan is definitely
It's a good one.
fire. Yeah, Xavier and
Yeah.
Logan. Sorry,
Right,
Xavier and
Xavier.
Logan.
Yeah, Xavier and Logan.
Yeah.
Um, Yo, man, for those that don't know, this is episode 50. You know, we started this at the very, very end of July. And we got a lot of, not a lot of content, but man, to have 50 episodes in, it's kind of crazy already. Like it's bugging me. Like, wow, 50 joints. And
More,
I'm proud of what we've put out. It may not be flawless. It could always be better. But we're striving to give you genuine, genuine jewels, genuine feedback, genuine content, without the BS, without the, buffoonery, without the
the
all the dirty
theatrics.
tactics,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
theatrics
yeah.
and the dirty tactics and the name calling and the
Um,
beefing with people and getting into the dirty sector of YouTube. Because we can go and be like, the gang TMZ or, the hip hop TMZ. Like everybody's following the same blueprint. Brothers turn on YouTube and they just copy each other. Um, and like everyone's getting views and hits off of it, and they all like, it's like WWE, like they doing fake beefs and calling each
More,
other out. Then the next thing you know, they all cool. It's like a whole like BS show. You know what I'm
more,
saying? And I'm not knocking nobody in particular. Do what you do, but like what we're striving for is something like more mature, more respectable. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be on here like seeing no BS from us. You know what I mean?
more, more.
Um, but let's talk, man. Couple things been happening. Before we start talking about some of our episodes that we've done in the last few months, Jim Jones just called out Cam um to what is it, a boxing match?
Yeah, for 10 million or something like
10.
that.
So is that the winner gets 10 mil?
I don't know. He just said put up 10 million. I guess because
Does
Mayweather is cool with Cam or something. Cam and Mason. He was like, get Mayweather to put it up and we'll match or whatever. My thing is, obviously these dudes have a. He said he still loves them and all of that. Like, why? If you love them, why fight them?
right.
You know what I'm saying? And then why try to like get
Mm,
monetary gain off of it also? I don't really like it. I listened to his interview today and because he has an album coming out, um he sounded like everybody
mm,
calls him like the young old ninja, and he said he embraces it because it keeps him in tune with the youth, and the youth is jacking him like musically and all of that. That means he's lit. And I get it, I understand. And he's right, because the people are like, and I will say this before I get into the other part of him wanting to fight and everything. I never liked him, right? I never liked his music. I never liked his persona. I ran into him a few times. I think I mentioned before on here,
mm,
and very arrogant, very like tough guy, whatever. Um, but I must say, he does put out quality work. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Especially as of recent, he's
right,
been putting out quality work.
right,
Jomo,
right, right.
Jomo is fire.
Yeah.
Static Selector did his thing with the production. Um, he talking on there. You know what I'm saying? Like I listened to it, listen to what he was saying. he was getting busy. It might not be the most lyrical, because we love lyrics, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, and we love MCing, but he did his thing. You know what
Lyrically,
I'm
he's
saying?
improved. He's
Very,
progressed throughout
very,
the.
yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah,
progressed.
yeah,
I would say remarkably. Not to say that he's at a great height or like a
yeah.
great
No,
skill
no, no.
level, but from where he was, which I
Mm-hmm.
felt was very low,
Mm-hmm.
I had zero interest in him
Right,
musically. Outside of Diplomats, you know what I'm saying? I'm
right,
talking as a solo artist more so. I had
right.
zero interest, and really, he really caught my eye when he came out with this album a few years ago with the Heatmakers, and I was like, yo, you gotta
The Ghost
respect it
of Rich
now.
Porter.
Like, nah, not that. I think it was I forgot what it was called, but it was all Heatmakers produced.
Okay.
It could be that, I'm not sure. I really don't remember the name. You know what I mean?
Um.
But it it
Right.
it it, it definitely made me say, all right, like he's in a different lane right now, and I'm gonna respect his music. I'm not gonna question um like anything about him anymore going forward. You know what I mean?
He has a good ear.
Yeah,
He has a good ear. And I didn't know he was like he said today in the interview, he was an exec, like making executive decisions on some labels that he was at.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I had no idea.
That was over at what was that independent label they was at? Somebody tried to
Koch
diss him for it.
was
Koch,
it
right?
Koch? Yeah, but
I think
it
he
was
was like
after Koch too, though. It was after Koch
oh,
too,
okay.
because
I
he
think
was
he was
under
an
Leor.
executive vice president
Yeah,
over at
he was
Koch.
under Leor, and he said it today. Kevin Lyles and Leor
Right.
at one of these labels. Obviously it wasn't Def Jam, but it was something they had. But like I listened and I grew like a kind of like an understanding of him, and it was a mature interview. I mean, he has his like 50-year-old teenager moments in the interview also, but um I respect it. I just, as far as the Cam thing and them fighting, like, if y'all gonna fight, I don't think it should be broadcasted, even though it's been made public.
Hmm.
I just don't agree when it's too, like, y'all known each other since teenagers,
Hmm.
basically,
Right,
and
right.
I think it's foolish, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I
And
agree.
I see people like my man just hit me and was like, yo, I think Cam is scared to fight and Jim Jones to do whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, Jim Jones work out. I'm like, yeah, but he skipped leg day. You know what I'm saying? He skipped
Yeah,
leg day. One punch might, you might fold like a lawn chair if you don't get it
yeah.
over quick, but
For anybody
I
could get
don't.
hit with a
Yeah,
punch and get taken out
yeah.
too.
All it takes
Um,
is 5 pounds of pressure, man. That's it.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
A lot of
You
people,
know,
your jaws don't like. I heard somebody say recently, and I always thought this way: your jaw, your chin don't have muscles.
right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't work out your chin.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Somebody land one clean right here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you going to sleep. I seen little dudes put the biggest dudes to sleep.
yeah,
You
for
know what I'm
real.
saying? Off of one. So like, and
Yeah,
I seen a lot of scared dudes knock out bullies. I seen
yeah.
that too.
And
So
I've been
just
hit
because
by
somebody's
hard.
scared,
I've been hit hard by small people that rock me
yeah,
bigger than dudes bigger than
yeah,
me.
yeah.
And
And
size don't mean nothing.
I,
Muscles
I,
don't mean
I done
nothing.
got hit so hard. I seen stars. I never been knocked out or knocked down, but I've seen stars like, oh snap, man,
Yeah.
serious. Get your head in the game.
Well, you know,
No bam.
my thing, well, my thing is, I have zero interest in watching them brothers fight.
Yeah,
First of
yeah,
all, I
yeah.
don't like to see
Seriously.
comrades at odds. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like,
right.
they
Love
supposed
each
to
other from a
be,
distance.
yeah, like if you can't love each other, then at least respect each other and let it be. You
Yeah,
know, but like my thing is, I'm a big, I'm a big MMA and big boxing dude, right? So I don't even want to watch half the fights that they put on, and these are the professionals.
right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying? I don't
right,
have much interest in some of the professionals fighting, much less two guys that's, 50, 51 years old. Because, in professional sports, someone at that age, they might not even get licensed. You know what I'm saying?
right.
To even. to even fight. So I don't care
Yeah,
for that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I
Yo, I'll
don't
be
either.
real with you. I'd rather see Lil Jamar and Crazy Legs. I'm more interested in them two brothers fighting. Real shit. You know what I mean? Just
But
from the,
yeah,
all the
right.
BS or whatever, the back
Right.
and forth. But
I think that Cam should continue to do his thing, and Jim, because somebody, I think Envy asked him, is there nobody that can make a call to get y'all to like reconcile or talk it out? And he was like, no. So
mm,
like he's like, not right now, because he's doing him. And I guess I kind of get it and respect it a little bit, but like, yo, if that's your man like that and you still got love for him, a conversation, it
mm,
can't hurt. You know what I'm saying? And whoever's around, like if nobody reached out, maybe I don't know if he's blowing smoke to the Breakfast Club saying nobody tried to call and tell him to chill.
mm,
But
mm,
if nobody's trying to tell them to chill and come together, then something wrong with them too. Something wrong with them people on the outside. Like yo, y'all can't talk. Like we have brothers that have disagreements, and we try to get brothers to see the bigger picture and. Like we're brothers, and maybe you should talk to them. And
mm,
a lot of things is men, especially from where we come from, a lot of men
mm,
don't know how to apologize.
mm,
Um, or when you apologize, they take the apology as weakness.
mm,
Like, and that goes to what's going on in Philadelphia right now with Oskino and the brother that's down with Meek Mill. Um, brothers is just, I'm not gonna get into that too much, but it like basically the brother somebody made an apology and then they put it on camera and try to make him look weak, and then it
mm.
spilled out into a whole bunch of like back and forth on the internet. And
Yeah.
it's a shame, like yo, just because you apologize don't make you weak, man. It actually makes you a
Mm-hmm.
stand-up dude and a man,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
you owning up to your mistake, and the
Right.
person that you're apologizing to shouldn't take that as a weakness, you being soft, you being scared. It's none of that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've made mistakes, and I'm like, yo, like, dag, man, I made a mistake. Let me apologize to this individual and tell him, like, if I really sincerely feel that I'm wrong and I was in the wrong, if when you're wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know when you're wrong. So if you're wrong, you apologize.
Yeah.
That is straight up, man.
And
Straight up.
that's definitely not weakness. And it's how you move forward from situations, man. Like, yo, a lot of times this ego and pride will put you on a path towards destruction, and you wind up destroying relationships you have with people that you once cared for, people that have done great things for you. And like, yo, we shouldn't be like losing that, like, you know what I'm saying? Because like I value my relationship with my Zulu brothers because I've been with these brothers for almost 30 years now. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So it's like it's very dear to me what we've shared, whether it be on the battlefield, whether it be, at an event, whether it be just cooling out.
Right.
We've established some bonds that are really unbreakable. And then you got brothers that really can't see it and they get blinded by something that's minute, you know what I'm saying, or something that you actually could work through, you know what I'm saying, whether it
Hmm.
be like a disagreement, whether it be a debt, whether it be just growing apart and not being able to respect one another's path, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I noticed that that's a big thing in our organization, brothers that's elevating and brothers that's stagnant. And then
Hmm.
it's hard to come together when brothers is at a different point in their life. Some brothers want to be in the streets because that's what's familiar to them and that's all they got. And then there's brothers that done left the streets and they want to stay far away from it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you just got to be able to respect your companions and your comrades and know that not everyone grows at the same speed. Everybody climbs up the ladder at different speeds. So a brother that may not be elevating as much as, you have or we have, strive your best to pick them up show him the way. And if he just wants to stay where he's at, then you gotta leave him there. But it
Hmm.
don't mean you gotta not rock with him or look down on him or shame him. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't never shaming my brothers. I may speak to you out of love and challenge you and call you out,
Right, right,
but I'm only doing it out of love and
right.
pushing you towards elevation, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
well, chastising and admonishing somebody is always out of love. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
hmm
always, it's nothing wrong with, because if you didn't care about the person, you wouldn't say anything. You let them
right,
crash out.
right,
You let them do whatever. Like, yeah, I told you whatever. Like, he gonna do whatever.
hmm
But if I'm advising you or I'm admonishing you or whatever, like they take it as negative. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people like, yo, you can't tell me what to
yeah,
do, or like, who are you? You know what I'm
hmm
saying? But I'm like, yo, I genuinely care about you, so I'm gonna tell you because I would want you to tell me if you see me
right,
slipping. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And that's what's missing in the community, accountability,
hmm
um,
We just spoke about it.
on both
We
sides. Yeah.
we just spoke about accountability on a previous episode,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Um,
Accountability is definitely lacking.
it is, it is.
Definitely lacking, man. You saw this
So
little baby joint?
yeah, yeah, that's crazy,
That's
man.
another
Talk
thing.
about it. What do you feel
Um,
about that?
yo, like, what was he doing pulling up in oppositional territory to shoot a music video? How did he think that was gonna go? I don't know all the details because apparently this happened of May 2024. I didn't even
Right,
know that. I'm
it's
thinking
almost
this
a
is
year
recent.
ago.
Right.
Right,
I'm thinking this is all recent, but I mean it is recent, but like I'm thinking it was like this week. You know what I'm saying?
right, because
Recent.
now
That's
it's
how they act.
circulating in the
Right.
media.
So now
Yeah.
I saw a clip of the
hmm
Atlanta police department saying it was a cowardly act on his behalf. And then I'm reading the comments, and like it's just in us to read comments sometimes. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To whether to laugh or whether to argue. And I saw
Yeah.
somebody say like Atlanta PD is upset that Young Thug is home, so they gotta get him. I'm like, yo, like two children died, two preteens died, lost their lives. Like, I don't
hmm
know if they were gang affiliated, but we know
hmm
he is because they said opposition, rival
Right.
gang territory. So that means I mean, we already knew he was gang affiliated. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, people put all of this stuff in their music,
hmm
and then when they get caught up or somebody mention it, yo, you a snitch, you ratting, shut, keep your
Yeah.
mouth closed. But you saying you this all up in your songs,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
talking about how you gonna slide on the op
Right.
and all of this and all of that, and then when something happens, you talking about somebody told on you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. I mean,
it's really it's
they're putting it
stupid.
all on Front
It,
Street. You know what I'm saying?
it's the most idiotic thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like seriously, it's the most idiotic thing I've ever seen. But to that, to the situation in particular, I think he's indirectly responsible because
Allegedly.
that right,
Allegedly.
right. That's a careless that's a decision of arrogance and pride.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To say like, yo, I got money, I got more money than y'all, and I could pull up in y'all neighborhood and shoot a
hmm
video, and y'all can't do nothing about it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's arrogance. It's
Yeah.
arrogance. A lot of these people are walking around with money, not even rich, not even wealthy. They just got some money, and they
Better
just think
off.
they're right, and they just think they're above everything. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You can't tell them nothing. They throw the designer on, they pull up in
hmm
a Wraith or a
Yep.
Rolls Royce or whatever, and they got like a little following. They got the blue check on their social
Yeah.
media. The chicks is
Yeah.
talking about them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they think that's it, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
It's this persona. It's this persona that they that they it's like this they become something that they really never were. It's like even with
right,
these rappers that you know you know, Rick Ross calls himself Rick Ross. He ain't the real Rick Ross. He ain't the
Right,
real Freeway Ricky Ross. You know what I mean?
right.
Um,
50 ain't the
Freeway
real
ain't the
50.
real Freeway ain't the real Freeway. You
Right,
know what I mean? That's Rick Ross, Freeway Rick Ross, right? That's
right, right,
you know what I
right,
mean.
right,
50 ain't the real 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying?
right,
AZ ain't the real AZ. You know what I mean?
right,
These
right.
brothers, they they just like basically take someone else's persona and like project this music. And not to say that AZ's projected that he's some type of gangster or
No,
big
no, no,
drug
no,
dealer.
no,
He's more like
no.
a,
No.
you know what I'm saying? Like
I think he's a
he's
five
different.
percenter. So yeah, and then
Right.
50 is like more close to that to his
Yeah, yeah,
than
yeah. No,
than than
he's
a Rick Ross or you know what
right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right,
Like
right,
cause
right.
cause
Yeah.
50 really like a lot
Yeah, no,
and
definitely.
I'll say this. A lot of people don't like 50. A lot of people be saying he be playing internet games and he be trolling and all of that. But like yo, I'm from Queens and like he not somebody that, a lot of people want to play with like that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know him personally. I know a few people that went to high school with him. I've seen him before. I know he was a boxer. I know he used to jog around the hood. And I know people personally that he put hands on. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Before all this fame and all of this stuff.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So like he not somebody like he'll joke and all of that, but if it gets serious, I don't think he's gonna back down from anybody. You know what I mean? And just because of where he's from, how he was raised, and what he's been through, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think he's a different kind of chess player.
Yeah. And
You know what I'm saying?
the brother's real strong up here.
Yeah,
And he really
very,
he'll
very.
really twist you. He'll really twist you
Yeah,
with his mind.
he stands on what he stands on, and he don't go back for nobody. Like
Well,
that's one thing about him. He's consistent. They can say what they want about him, but he's consistent. But away from like the I guess the negative stuff. 50th episode though. I'm happy. I'm proud of what we've done so far.
hmm.
I think it's dope. The idea that you and I have been talking about, that this is what became of it. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're only gonna get better, God willing. Um,
Inshallah.
yeah, like yo, the 50 episodes, that's crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get no motion. Not to say that we don't have motion or we do, but like a lot of
Hmm.
people don't get motion and they'll quit after 10, 20 episodes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They won't see the views, they won't have views, they won't have, like even if you have one listener, man, somebody's listening, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it means something, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Nah,
so I'm
it's
definitely
true. It's
happy
true. Yeah,
because
me
it's
too. I'm happy just to be able to tell some of the stories
right.
for the other Zulus that may be around the world that may not even know us personally, but they
Hmm.
get to hear some of our stories. And then, we've opened the door to have some stories with some of the elders tell us
You
some stories, whether it be the Black Spades, whether it be Elder Zulus, whether it be the Ghetto Brothers, you know what I'm saying? Or some of our peers, like people don't know these stories. And,
right.
this is really the only platform that you're going to hear about the legacy and the history of Zulu Nation, Zulu Union. Um, no one else is really speaking on it, man. You got an organization that's thousands and thousands and thousands of members deep, and everyone's quiet because of the allegations or what took place with the founder. And it's like, well, all right, yeah, no, like, I understand, but like there's still some great things that took place that and it gotta be documented, it gotta be spoken on, and we're striving here to tell it, you know what I'm saying, and preserve it,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times with these organizations, the stories will die with the elders, with the membership, you know what I'm saying? And I've received so many stories firsthand, face to face. You know what I'm saying? And more stories than I could even ever remember. You know what I mean? You forget you forget them after time, but I remember a lot too, and
A
I
lot
just
of
want to
myths
preserve
too.
it. A lot of myths, a
A
lot of
lot of myths too.
misconceptions, you know what
Sure.
I'm saying? A lot of misconceptions, a lot of flat out lies and
Hmm.
embellishment, and
Hmm.
you know what I mean, we've cleared some stories up here too. And
Right.
what we're striving for with Spears and Micz is we want to continue to get these stories out because there's a lot of people, a lot of individuals that y'all haven't been introduced that have walked an incredible path,
Right. And
in
responsible for a lot.
and responsible for a lot,
For a
done a
lot.
lot, opened the
Right.
doors for a lot of people, saved a lot of lives, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, contributed a lot to hip hop culture. So like we wanna get these people to you, and for whatever reason, I thought more people would um jump like and get on like with the show. But we all got lives, we all got work, we got seeds, we got responsibilities. But I want to get Zulu King Acer up on here. Acer, if you hear this, Prism, if you hear this, I want to hear the story of Chosen Zulus. Need that on here on Spears and Mic's. I want to get King Lee or King Biggs, get the story of Chapter 17, Shadow Clan. You know what I mean? Flushing, Elmhurst, Corona, wherever the chapter's been at, any stage, any history, need that on here too. Same thing with Hood Humble, um, King Q, Brooklyn, Chapter 18, Z Gang, Brooklyn G's, Bronx, the G's from the Bronx, whoever, man. We need to get these stories on here. A lot of legendary brothers, a lot of brothers that did a lot. We need them stories, But what I do want to say is for the brothers and sisters that did come on and gave us their energy, their time, their stories, it was all very, entertaining to me, and I loved it. Peace to the Omega Zulus from Mike One and Queen to Stepchild
Stepchild.
and Zulu King
Reyes.
Reyes.
Right.
So we had two different episodes where we had, the I don't want to say the newer, but like two different generations of Omega Zulus from out in Minnesota to tell us what they worked on, what they've been striving for. So it was beautiful to hear that story. Also to hear about phase two, you know what I'm saying? A legendary hip hop graffiti artist and B-boy, you know what I'm saying? He's the founder. Um, so that was dope, man. To hear the Ghetto Brothers on here, you know what I'm saying? That was incredible to me to hear some of them stories, and we hope to get them back on too. Man, Lord Sharif, if y'all didn't hear those two episodes, you know what I'm saying? Man,
That
those are
that might
must
have been my
hears.
favorite.
Yeah,
That
he was
might have been
dropping it.
my favorite.
That was a lot of Zulu Nation history, a lot of
Right.
Shaka Zulu
Right.
history. And
Right.
I know for a fact, from seeing that brother when I was young come around, um, he's really about that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And um that brother experienced enough stuff to make a movie about his Zulu Nation experiences, dealing with celebrities and Zulu King BO and all of the like the real deep Zulu stories in Zulu Nation in its prime. You know what I'm saying?
And
Like
from the
where it was
beginning too.
right from the beginning, because right, the brother was a baby Spade, then a young Spade, right, then a regular black Spade, then going into the formation of the Zulu Nation, going into ultimately becoming the Shaka Zulu captain, and watching Zulu King BO being appointed and actually pushing that out there that he should be the captain. You know what I'm saying? It was historical. It was
And
historical.
actually confirming Ron Savage and Hassan Campbell's involvement.
Right,
Like because
right.
unfortunately those two individuals, those two
Mhm.
brothers are like discrediting each other, but they're from two different eras.
Right.
they're from
Right.
two different eras, but he
Yeah. He
definitely
seen them
like,
both come in.
yeah,
Seen them
he
both come in.
co-signed. He said B Stinger was there from the beginning, basically,
I think he said B Stinger was at the studio when they made the
when they
decision
made
to
Shaka
make
Zulu.
when
Yeah,
they made Shaka Zulu. You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. So you
So
can't really discredit him. And then
you can't discredit
he
him.
he said some things about Poppy also.
Right.
So like people be talking and
Poppy
they
is
don't know
Hassan
the people
Campbell
outside,
for
right?
those that don't know. You know
People
what I mean?
outside of the organization that be talking and making fun of the brother's situation. Like I really think that it's sad, man. It's sad. But to
Sad and
say like
ugly.
to discredit him not being there and you never been in the organization is
Right.
crazy. It's
Right.
crazy. And another thing, I think excuse me, we need to get these stories told because there's a misconception about gang culture in New York, thinking it's just like they stole Bloods and Crips from California and
Hmm.
we started gang banging
In the
in
90s.
in the 90s, right? Which there were gangs dating back like in the 40s
1800s.
and right even yeah right
1800s.
yeah that's crazy because like the settlers like these Irish, Italian and Jewish gangs
Were
were
at
there.
war,
It's
fighting.
funny, right? It's funny because like remember I told you Necro is doing an interview series with the brother Panda Chop and
Hmm.
Necro is I think he's Jewish. I'm not, I think him and
Hmm.
Ill Bill are Jewish, but he was saying like he was dropping the history on the projects in New York City being all white at one point
Yeah.
because of the early settlers. I mean, we already
Right.
knew that, but it was just refreshing to hear it because a lot of
Hmm.
people think you from the projects, you either so-called black or so-called Latino, or you poor
Right.
white trash. If you're white
Yeah.
and living in the projects, you poor white
Yeah.
trash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't be living amongst the so-called blacks and Puerto Ricans and the
Right.
Dominicans because that the projects is for them. No, the
For them.
projects were for the early settlers,
Right.
the Italians, the
Hmm.
Jews,
Right.
and the Irish. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Coming over
All
here.
those public houses in East Harlem were
Right.
from Italians.
Right, right,
Italians had
right.
all those
Because you come from
buildings.
Ellis Island, Chelsea
Hmm.
Piers, and all of that is right there. So like um the lower, you know what I'm saying? Like what's the name is from that side. Whoopi Goldberg from the projects over there. I
Hmm.
think she's from Chelsea. I think she's from
Or
Chelsea if I'm not
Chelsea
mistaken.
houses.
Yeah.
I think that's like
But
about 23rd Street or something like that.
yeah, I
You
think
know
she's
what I
from
mean?
over there. But like, yo, like all the projects were white. And then, after white flight,
Right.
that's when, it started being
Yeah.
flooded with after the mix and then the white
Hmm.
flight, became like a all black or all so-called Latino thing to be in the projects. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But
And
New
yo,
York have had
housing,
gangs forever.
right. Housing was actually when people flooded public housing, it was like a blessing to them because
Mm-hmm.
New York was built on all these tenements, everybody living on top of each
Mm-hmm.
other.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Mm-hmm.
projects was to be like you have open fields with grass, barbecue areas, playgrounds, you
Right.
know what I'm saying,
Right.
grass in between the buildings, you know what I'm saying? So it was like a better life, you know what I'm saying, and affordable too,
Right.
you
It's
know?
it's it's like if you want to know if anyone wants to know about the tenements, and I'm glad you mentioned that, there's a tenement museum actually right off Delancey Street. I forgot the street. You just gotta Google it. Tenement museum in
Hmm.
Manhattan, right off of Delancey Street, and they'll walk you through. Like they have like the old tenements, and
Hmm.
it's a museum now. And you go in there, and it tells you about like the first settlers that came over from these countries, from Ireland, from Italy, and Russia, and
Hmm.
they were coming over and they had to live on top of each other, and they still have
Hmm.
some of the clothing, like I think a old couple of old baby cribs is in there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like it's real. I had to do a project on it when I was in college, and I had no idea about the museum, but we had a choice either to go to the Frick Gallery or the Tenement Museum. So I'm going with the struggle. I'm gonna write
Hmm.
about the struggle, so I chose the Tenement Museum, and I had to
Hmm.
go over there and go on the tour and everything, and it's very interesting. It's history and it's good information. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like to get back to what we were saying, like gangs in New York didn't start with Bloods and Crips
No,
and
definitely
Latin
not.
Kings, and like we've had like you said, the 1800s, and then the so-called Latino gangs and black gangs came from like the Black Spades, the all these Savage Nomads, Savage
Savage
Skulls,
Skulls.
the
Hmm.
the Javelins, and
Hmm.
all of these
The
gangs, all of the
Bachelors.
right,
It's
right.
it's an incredible list
And they wore
of
colors too.
gangs.
Their
Yeah.
colors weren't actual color. It was their jacket. It was their cut.
Right.
Like they used to wear
Hmm.
the vest, like if you see in Warriors. So if
Right.
Warriors is based on a true story, why would we even think that, I don't even know why we would, no disrespect to the Bloods and Crips. I have friends that are Bloods and Crips. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Same here.
Been that for since the 90s, been that,
Right.
never changed. And they're adults now and they don't gang bang anymore, but they still represent their organization. And it's cool. But to think that you would take something from some another coast, what I'm saying, when we already had something, we already had
Hmm.
things. You didn't
Right.
have to be that. You could have had, if you had enough to like think up this plan, like OG Mac would allegedly he came up with this mantra and these lessons and all of that. And I've seen people dispute that also, but you come up with these lessons, you could have built your own organization
Right.
and named it
Right.
something else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just my take on it. But just to smarten people up. The gangs in New York did not start with Bloods and Crips in the 90s.
Way
You know what I'm
big
saying?
history. For those that want to check out a dope site, like if any of the viewers or listeners want to tap in and get a little bit more knowledge on it, go to classicnewyorkstreetgangs.com. A former Zulu brother named Class, I believe he was a part of Chapter 9 out in Brooklyn, out in Park Slope. He runs that website, and you could basically learn about all the colors, all the movements. You could look at it up by borough. Mainly it's like Bronx and Brooklyn, of course, Queens as well. But it documents all of the rich history of New York, classic street gangs from the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, you know what I mean? And it's probably the most accurate information you're gonna find on the website. But New York has had its, and it runs parallel with like what is it, the gladiators out there in the West Coast, which ultimately wound up like I believe the gladiators is like the precursor to like the Brims and the
Mm.
Pyrus and
The businessmen, I think,
the
came from the
businessmen,
Pyru. The Pyrus came
the
from the businessmen, I
businessmen's,
think.
the businessmen is one of them as well. Businessmen, gladiators, and so on and
Mm.
so forth. Like when those organizations were out, that's the same time the Black Spades, the
Mm.
Ghetto Brothers, the Peacemakers. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Savage Skulls, Savage Nomads. All of these groups were in operation. Same thing in Chicago during that same period is when the Gangster
And with the
Disciples,
and the Vice
um,
Lords,
the
yeah.
Vice
Because Vice Lords
Lords.
been out since like the 50s, I think.
Right,
50s,
Vice Lords, I
60s.
think, been
Yeah.
around the longest.
They're the
Vice Lords
longest.
and the
The
Latin
traveling Vice
Kings.
Lord. Yep, the traveling Vice
You
Lords.
know what I
Yo,
mean?
it's
They
crazy.
came out from the 50s, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right. Yo, Barry White was a businessman.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that. Barry
Yeah.
White, the
Yeah.
the the famed singer and orchestra conductor and all of that. Like he was a
Right.
businessman. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Matter of fact, I was just telling you, for the brothers that maybe the Puerto Rican brothers that's familiar with the Salsa legend, Frankie Ruiz, who I know is one of the most respected salseros in, the whole culture. He was a former ghetto brother, you know what I'm saying, from Paterson, New Jersey. So there's a lot of people that were gang related that you would never even think of. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So,
Wasn't
you
Geraldo? Geraldo was a young lord, right?
Geraldo was a young lord out of East Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Um, I believe he's from East Harlem himself. You know, so yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have been a part of organizations. There's a lot of people that have been just representing different various groups, man, and you know, learn the history, learn the history. Like me and Watt telling you, it just didn't start in 1993.
Right,
It goes way beyond that. Not to discredit them brothers, their story, their legacy, their history.
right, right.
But it goes way beyond that, man. We already had it. Because people be like, "Oh, y'all New York, y'all new to this gangbang shit." No, we're not.
No,
We're
no,
not new
not at
to it.
all.
It's
Not at
We're
all.
not new to it. When one of the biggest gangs in the history of gang whatever, in the history of all gangs, one of the largest, most influential gangs, the Black Spades, comes from the Bronx. You know what I
Right,
mean? Bronx still. You know what I'm saying? So, if you're not familiar with the Black Spades, man, it's a story that's incredible. There is a Black Spades movie that's out. It's not released to the public, but me and a few of the Zulus, we got to see it, so it was incredible. Um, and if you want to check out an episode that we have with the brother Tiny, who
it's one of my
he's current
favorites too.
one of my favorites too, an incredible story, an incredible journey. He talks about his time with the Black Spades. He talks about his time forming the Casanovas in the later years, once the Spades kind of transitioned and the Zulus were starting, it was kind of like the Zulus, the Casanovas, and the G's, the Gestapo. Those were the three main groups in the Bronx making noise. So he talks about all of that. Two parts to that episode as well. Um, Man, there's just a lot of dope episodes. Even recently, Zulu King Enoch documenting his story with founding lost tribes out in Newark, New Jersey. That was a dope episode. Chuck Nichols talking about, forming Chapter 23 Connecticut Pharaohs out in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Peace to him. Um, Man, it's been incredible, man. You know what I mean? I really give a lot of thanks to all the people that have given us some time, given us a story, helped us build up this platform that we're striving with, man. You know, but yeah, man, we encouraging all the Zulus that got a story to tell, man. Let's schedule something. Let's make this happen. None of us are promised tomorrow. I want all these stories solidified, stamped, you know what I mean, and out for the young ones to learn from. You know what I mean? If we ain't gonna tell the story, who is? You know what I
Right.
mean? For real, man. But yo, keep it tuned, man. Like, hit that subscribe. If you want to share us with some of your comrades, some of your people, like-minded individuals, you got any comments for us, drop some comments. But just keep it tuned here to Spears and Micz. We're
Right.
also available on Spotify, Apple Music, um, basically anywhere you can get your audio podcast from, we're on there. You know what I mean? In addition to, you being able to watch it on YouTube. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, man. Have a good night. Salute. Peace to everybody.
Peace.